North Korea. The very name conjures images of a land shrouded in secrecy, a place where information is tightly controlled, and the outside world only catches glimpses of life within its borders. Officially, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, it remains one of the most isolated and repressive regimes globally. For decades, North Korea has been led by the Kim dynasty, a family that has maintained an iron grip on power. Current leader Kim Jong-un continues the legacy of his father and grandfather, perpetuating a system built on extreme control, strict social order, and unwavering loyalty to the state. This essay aims to offer a glimpse into the lives of ordinary North Koreans living under this authoritarian regime. We will explore the pervasive surveillance that permeates daily life, the severe restrictions on personal freedoms, and the harsh consequences of dissent or attempts to escape. Furthermore, we will examine the country's increasingly concerning foreign alliances, particularly with Russia, and the implications of its growing nuclear capabilities for global security. Finally, we will consider the perspectives of neighboring South Korea, a nation living under the constant shadow of its unpredictable neighbor. Through this exploration, we aim to shed light on the realities of life inside North Korea, and the challenges faced by both its citizens and the international community. In North Korea, the watchful eye of the state is ever present. Surveillance is not merely a tool of governance, it is woven into the very fabric of society. From the moment citizens wake to the time they fall asleep, their lives are subject to scrutiny and control. Neighborhood watch units known as Inminban act as the eyes and ears of the regime, monitoring residents for any signs of dissent or deviation from the strict social norms. These units hold immense power, reporting on everything from unauthorized gatherings to criticisms of the government. Adding another layer to this web of surveillance is the widespread use of informants. Citizens are encouraged to report on one another, creating an atmosphere of suspicion and mistrust. Even within families, the fear of being reported for a perceived slight against the regime can lead to self-censorship and strained relationships. This constant surveillance serves to stifle dissent and maintain the Kim regime's grip on power. It creates a climate of fear, where individuals are afraid to express their true thoughts or engage in any activity that could be deemed subversive. The result is a population living in a state of perpetual self-censorship, their lives dictated by the ever-present gaze of the state. In North Korea, the concept of individual liberty takes on a vastly different meaning than in most parts of the world. Personal freedoms, as understood in democratic societies, are virtually non-existent. The state dictates almost every aspect of an individual's life, from their occupation to their appearance. One of the most striking examples of this control is the Songbun system, a hereditary caste system that categorizes citizens based on their perceived loyalty to the regime. This categorization determines an individual's access to education, employment, housing, and even food rations. Those deemed politically unreliable face severe discrimination and limited opportunities. Freedom of movement is another casualty of the regime's tight grip. Citizens require permission to travel even within the country, and unauthorized travel is strictly prohibited. This restriction serves to limit the flow of information and prevent any potential for organized dissent. The internet, a powerful tool for communication and information sharing, is largely inaccessible to ordinary citizens. Only a select few, typically high-ranking officials and their families, are granted access to the global internet. The majority of the population is limited to a tightly controlled intranet, offering a sanitized version of reality that aligns with the regime's propaganda. The consequences of questioning or challenging the North Korean regime are severe and often brutal. The government maintains a vast network of prison camps known as Kwanliso, where political prisoners and those deemed enemies of the state are subjected to unimaginable cruelty. Forced labor, torture, starvation, and summary executions are commonplace within these camps, which operate outside the bounds of any legal framework. The stories of survivors paint a horrifying picture of the human rights abuses perpetrated within these hidden gulags. For many North Koreans, the only escape from this oppressive system is to flee the country. However, defection is a perilous undertaking, fraught with danger at every turn. The border with China is heavily guarded, and those caught attempting to cross face imprisonment, torture, or even repatriation to North Korea, where they are likely to face even harsher punishments. Despite the risks, thousands of North Koreans have risked their lives to escape to freedom in recent decades. Their harrowing stories serve as a testament to the desperation felt by many living under the regime's tyranny, and the lengths to which they are willing to go to seek a better life for themselves and their families. Section 5. A perilous alliance, North Korea's growing ties with Russia. In recent years, North Korea has forged an increasingly close relationship with Russia, raising concerns among the international community. This alliance, born out of shared geopolitical interests and a mutual distrust of the West, has the potential to destabilize the region and undermine global security. Russia, facing international condemnation and sanctions for its actions in Ukraine, has found a willing partner in North Korea, a country similarly isolated and eager to defy the West. The two countries have engaged in significant arms deals, with North Korea supplying Russia with artillery shells and other military equipment. This burgeoning alliance has far-reaching implications. It strengthens Russia's military capabilities, potentially prolonging the conflict in Ukraine and fueling instability in other parts of the world. It also provides North Korea with much-needed economic relief and diplomatic support, emboldening the regime and making it less likely to engage in meaningful negotiations on denuclearization. Furthermore, the alliance raises concerns about the potential transfer of advanced military technology, including nuclear weapons technology. While the extent of such cooperation remains unclear, the possibility of North Korea sharing its nuclear expertise with Russia is a deeply troubling prospect with potentially catastrophic consequences for global security. Section 6. The nuclear threat, a global security concern. North Korea's relentless pursuit of nuclear weapons has been a major source of international tension and a significant threat to global peace and security. Despite years of sanctions and diplomatic efforts, the regime has continued to develop its nuclear and ballistic missile programs, conducting numerous tests that have drawn condemnation from the international community. The Kim regime views its nuclear arsenal as the ultimate deterrent, a guarantee of its survival against what it perceives as hostile foreign powers, particularly the United States and its allies. The development of nuclear weapons is seen as a source of national pride and a symbol of North Korea's strength on the world stage. However, this pursuit of nuclear weapons comes at a heavy cost. The resources poured into these programs could be used to address the country's dire economic situation and improve the lives of its impoverished citizens. Moreover, North Korea's nuclear ambitions have isolated it from the international community, hindering its economic development and perpetuating its dependence on foreign aid. The international community faces a daunting challenge in addressing the North Korean nuclear threat. Sanctions, while impactful, have failed to deter the regime's nuclear ambitions. Dialogue and diplomacy have proven equally challenging, with North Korea often using negotiations as a stalling tactic while continuing its weapons development in the background. The path forward remains uncertain, but finding a peaceful solution to this crisis is crucial for ensuring regional and global stability. Section 7. The world's response, ineffective sanctions, and diplomatic stalemates. The international community has long grappled with how to effectively address the multifaceted challenges posed by North Korea. Over the years, various strategies have been employed, ranging from economic sanctions to diplomatic engagement, but none have yielded a lasting solution. Sanctions, often touted as a way to pressure the regime into changing its behavior, have had a limited impact. While they have undoubtedly imposed economic hardship on North Korea, they have failed to curb its nuclear ambitions or improve its human rights record. Furthermore, the effectiveness of sanctions is often undermined by inconsistent enforcement and the willingness of some countries, such as China and Russia, to circumvent them. Diplomatic efforts, while offering a glimmer of hope, have also faced significant obstacles. North Korea has repeatedly shown itself to be an unreliable negotiating partner, using talks as a way to buy time and extract concessions while continuing its nuclear and missile development in secret. The deep mistrust between North Korea and the United States, its main adversary, further complicates matters, making it difficult to find common ground. The lack of a unified international front, with countries like China and Russia often pursuing their own strategic interests, further weakens the effectiveness of diplomatic efforts. Section 8. Living with the Northern Threat, the South Korean Perspective. For South Korea, the division of the Korean Peninsula is not merely a historical footnote, but a lived reality. The constant threat posed by its unpredictable neighbor to the north casts a long shadow over South Korean society, shaping its foreign policy, influencing its domestic politics, and weighing heavily on the minds of its citizens. The two Koreas remain technically at war. The armistice agreement that ended the Korean War in 1953 never replaced with a peace treaty. This precarious state of peace is punctuated by periodic flare-ups of tension, military provocations by the North, and a constant stream of propaganda from both sides. The South Korean public is deeply divided on how to best deal with the North. Some advocate for a hardline approach emphasizing military deterrence and sanctions, while others favor engagement and dialogue, hoping to foster reconciliation and eventual reunification. The specter of North Korea's nuclear weapons program weighs heavily on the minds of many South Koreans, raising existential questions about their security and future. The possibility of war, while remote, is a constant source of anxiety, and the economic and social costs of maintaining a high level of military readiness are significant. Section 9. A future uncertain. The challenges and hopes for change. The situation on the Korean peninsula remains one of the most intractable geopolitical challenges of our time. North Korea's nuclear ambitions, its human rights abuses, and its unpredictable behavior continue to pose a serious threat to regional and global security. The international community faces a difficult task in finding a peaceful and lasting solution to this complex issue. Despite the challenges, there are glimmers of hope. The resilience of the North Korean people, who have endured decades of hardship and oppression, should not be underestimated. The desire for freedom and a better life burns brightly in the hearts of many, and their courage in the face of adversity is a testament to the indomitable human spirit. The international community must remain united in its commitment to denuclearization and the improvement of human rights in North Korea. Engagement and dialogue, while challenging, must remain a priority, and sanctions should be used strategically to pressure the regime while minimizing harm to ordinary citizens. Ultimately, a lasting solution can only come from within North Korea itself. A change in leadership, a relaxation of the regime's grip on power, or a groundswell of internal pressure for reform could pave the way for a more peaceful and prosperous future for the Korean peninsula.